you've obviously got a history in terms of trying things. I think for relatively low costs, you could get somebody in from the outside who, and with an open brief, as to look at the whole of what you own and so on, and what you're trying to achieve, and to understand the history. And you may well find that combination of fresh eyes and a professional eye unlock something for you. No guarantees, obviously, but it will be specific to your place. That's you've got to the stage where you need to move beyond generic advice to specifically targeted advice at your particular situation, your particular buildings, your particular history, I think. Anybody want to add? James, thank you.
I think just to add to that, the project we have at the moment has had many stumblings, as I said earlier. I think there have been about 5 failed projects in 40 years. And when I arrived, I didn't bring any fresh insight into it, but I was a different person, and I was a new person who hadn't been part of the previous history. And I think there was some value, actually, in me having that conversation with people, because I didn't have baggage. And if there's baggage around, I think that can be a bit of a problem, actually. So if you can get rid of the baggage by having somebody, as Nigel suggests, or whatever, that's actually helpful. Lots of people who have been involved previously have now re-engaged. But to begin with, that was important just to move that to one side.
You wouldn't appreciate me saying so, but our baggage left about a year ago.
So maybe the time is ripe then.
We have a new vicar who has re-established the impetus for what we're doing.
Very good. George.
Well, just to answer your question, but also the other gentleman who raised the question about what to do next when they've got damp and various other things. I mean, I can speak for myself and maybe some others here as well. I'm quite happy to visit churches, to have an initial look round without charge. I also do building surveys, and as often when you look around a church, you can then see what needs to be done first. It can be very daunting to somebody who's not in the profession, if you like, when you've got all these issues, and where do you weigh them up first? I mean, one of the first things that we did in this church after I moved here was to repair the roof, because there were 6 or 8 leaks that kept, leaking. And it's from there that we went on through a gradual process of refurbishment and renewal. So it can be difficult for someone outside of the industry, but I think, certainly I'll be able to meet with you if necessary to look through your buildings and perhaps give you some initial fresh advice, or perhaps point you to an architect, or it might be a quantity surveyor who can do some, number crunching for you to establish some costs.
I was just speaking to somebody earlier and talking about how God works so slowly sometimes on these projects, and I really think the reason why God seems to act so slowly is so that we can catch up with Him. And so often delays in projects are there because the church needs to be united, needs to be praying through and getting a clear vision, because there's often so many different things that are going on. And I think that is an opportunity that we can take in these situations when there seems to be obstacles, seems to be delays. Pray more, seek His vision, because we've got to have a vision for the church, for what He wants us to do. Otherwise, we can put up any building we like and it's still going to be, skew and not right. So that I would say take that opportunity, because if you've got a clear vision, then when you get somebody in to do a feasibility study, or you appoint somebody else to help you, you're able to brief them more clearly as well.
I'd like to say, on behalf of all the Keystone, the 7 practices involved, that offer of visiting without commitment on either side, to see your problems in the flesh, as it were, is one that we make at all these seminars. So if you want us to come and look, any of us come and look at your buildings and have a chat about it, we'll be glad to do that.